Welcome to the podcast.
歡迎收聽
요거서 팟캐스트에
به پادکست ما خوش آمد.
مقیم با این پادکست
欢迎来到我们的播客
Benvenuti sul podcast
Common Time Podcast.
日本からこんにちは
Buongiorno
你
dall'Italia
好来自香港
Hello from New
سلام
York.
از ایران.
Hallo aus Deutschland.
Shalom Israel
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Cultures, a podcast where guests from all over the world talk about the subtle, surprising, intriguing, and bizarre cultural differences in everyday life. My name is Asaf, and today we have a very special episode, Family Dinners. It's not an episode you want to listen to on an empty stomach. But before we begin, I want to ask everybody who's listening to help us beat the YouTube and Facebook algorithm by giving us a thumbs up on our Facebook page, Crossing Cultures Podcast, and subscribing to our YouTube channel so you can get every episode live when it's out. And if you're listening to this episode on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or any one of the other podcast apps, then please consider giving us a nice review if you like the content, sharing it with your friends. And if you can't find the podcast, then let us know. Send us an email to crossingculturespodcast@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media so we know how to get to you in the most convenient way. Let's start with you guys introduce yourselves, but I want you to tell me, when you introduce yourselves, you tell me your favorite dish that your mom makes.
Oy.
Okay, I'm Hector from Mexico. I think that my favorite dish, my mom does some fried quesadillas.
Okay. By the way, it doesn't have to be your mom. It could be your dad or
Oh, okay, sure.
anyone. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Fried
so-
quesadillas.
Fried quesadillas.
What's
yeah.
inside?
Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And on top she puts lettuce and tomato sauce. So this is the thing that I miss the most.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Debs from Liverpool, England. And sorry, Mum, but Mum doesn't really cook. My whole life it's been my father. Love you, Dad. And he makes this amazing beef hot pot because it's cold in England. We don't have any sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
So he makes this stew with loads of like long, slow cooked meat with carrots and celery and sliced potatoes, which he grills on top so they come crispy. And we have that with red cabbage and beetroot.
Is that what you call scores in
Scouse, hello,
Scouse.
sir. Yes.
Scouse?
Scouse.
So what is it's like a beef stew with...
The origins are very quickly is Liverpool was an industrial town. It's a docking shipping town, so it wasn't wealthy. It wasn't affluent like the big smoke down in London. So people would just put whatever they had left in the fridge into a big boiling pot, and they'd make a meal out of it. And that was called scouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's developed from there and moved on. But it was to warm you up inside after you'd been maybe working on the docks or working in the mines or working in the steelworks.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So my name is Chiaretta. I'm from Cuneo, Mondovì, in Italy. And well, my father doesn't really cook. My mother doesn't cook traditional dishes. So I would just say that my mom is really good in preparing soup in winter with all the vegetables. Oh my God, it's so good. It's really the best for me.
What kind of... like vegetable soup?
Yeah.
All
Only
right.
vegetable. All the vegetables are there. It's
Okay.
amazing. It warmed the heart.
Is there a specific name for that soup?
No, we call just zuppa.
Okay.
Zuppa della mamma.
Is the veg all mashed together blended?
No, chunky. Like
Chunky.
it, yeah. You.
With
It needs to
consistency.
help you. Yeah.
They
for
preserve
the
their
wa-
identity. in the
Yeah.
soup. All right.
Hi, my name's Aliyah. I'm from Taiwan. My mom cooks a lot. I actually love anything she cook with pork.
Mhm.
Like fried pork or pork stew. Anything about pork, I love it a lot.
So pork... So most of you said soup. Or some like soup or stew or... Maybe it's because it's winter is approaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's intentional.
We're feeling the need for soup.
We're getting closer.
All right. My mom cooks a lot, but she like... I mean, the question of does such a thing as Israeli cuisine even exist is subject to another discussion, but my favorite dish is when mom cooks spaghetti bolognese.
Okay.
And I wanted to take advantage of this to ask you, in Italy, Does spaghetti bolognese, because we've had this discussion back home like many times, does the real spaghetti bolognese have carrots?
Oh, I'm not really sure about that. I'm gonna tell you after. Well, for sure it's tomato sauce.
Of course, yes. But
Yeah.
then there's
For
like,
the rest, I'm gonna tell you after.
so, yeah, I know there's like two schools. One says that you need to have there's carrots in it, and the other says that carrots make it something
I would
completely
say
different.
no. Carrots is not so good.
All right, so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. All right, let's start with like a really broad question. Like, what is the importance of family dinners where you come from? Because you've all been in Israel, and in Israel, family, like especially Friday night dinners are, you never miss it. It's like it's the most important family event of the week, and even when people are when they have their own families, they still go back to their parents and eat family Friday night dinners. So you guys tell me, how are things where you come from?
Well, in my family's kind of weird because I'm gonna tell you why. No, yeah, because the Friday dinner, it becomes a 4-day dinner. Yeah. So my sisters with their husbands and their kids will come on Thursday, and it will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we spend the whole weekend together. Yeah, and my dad cooks, and then we'll have dinner, and we'll take the kids to school, and then we'll pick them, like as a family we'll pick them up. And on Saturday we'll go to the vineyards usually, and we'll spend the whole day over there and then come back. And on Sunday I'm the one in charge of the barbecue, and we have a couple of drinks. And
is that every week?
Almost every week. Yeah.
Oh, I know where I'm going next Friday for dinner.
And would you say that's typical
of my family? But in a typical Mexican family, they'll get together on Sunday. Yeah, it's on Sunday morning. They'll spend the whole day like at their
in the morning.
grandma's. Well, since morning until
yeah. I you correct me if I'm wrong. I remember that in Mexico the big meal of the day is the breakfast. This is where I went, and in other places like in Israel, it's usually the dinner or lunch if you eat at work.
But Mexican breakfast is always like with a lot of consistency, something thick and greasy.
Okay. So when we talk about family dinners, you can translate that into family breakfast.
Yeah.
Just feel free to do that. All right.
So for me, Friday night dinner was the only one day of the week where we all came together as a family. Every other night in the week, everyone would do their own thing and eat in a different room. And so Friday was very special, not only because I was part of the English Jewish community, also because it was the one time that the family would get together, and my father would spend all day prepping the food. He'd go out shopping in the morning, he'd come back, he'd then go out shopping again, because there'd be certain stores that he would get one item from, and go to another store and get another item from. And he would spend his whole day curating and nurturing this food. And when it came to actually serving it, we'd probably get into a fight as a family, and he would storm off and not eat the food. That was pretty normal. But it was very much coming together for this couple of hours and trying to kind of open up and share what has happened in the week. But British people aren't so well known for being very open and cultural and sharing, so it was usually just 2 hours of moaning, complaining, and then shouting, and then the food would get wasted because we'd have a row. That was pretty traditional in my family.
All right.
But it was fun. We look forward to it.
Yeah,
You know?
why not?
So when I'm talking, I'm obviously referring to the Catholic part of Italian. I think I can relate to them. And I think family dinners are, lunch. And I'm referring to obviously a traditional way of spending the day. Is the best part is that you can actually have the time to enjoy the meal, because all the other days, like, you are in a rush. Like, Italian people try to eat always together, like also the other day of the week. But like, people are, like, the kids are going to school, like all this are going to the university, you finish late at work. So I think like the best is the weekend. So you are all together, like maybe you do prayers if you are more religious, and you can really sit at the table at, I don't know, maybe 12 and finish at 4, but really enjoying the food. And I think this is what is typical of the family dinners, and
all right.
meals,
I think in Taiwan it's quite different because first of all I'm not Jewish, so like family dinner for me is only like usually happen on weekends, and because my family and we live in different city, and usually on weekday I always dine out. So for me, my mom and my dad, they will like drive a car to the city where I live in, and then
What
cook,
city is that?
Taipei.
Taipei.
Yeah, the
okay. You
capital.
live in Taipei.
I live in Taipei.
And your parents?
Live in Keelung, which is
Keelung.
like 30 minutes drive.
To the north.
Yes. So they will like come to my house and then cook for lunch, cook for dinner Saturday, and also camp again on Sunday for lunch and for dinner. Just make sure that I can get nutritious.
I'm going to ask you a question about Keelung because I did some reading before the show, and I heard that it's the seafood capital of Taiwan.
Keelung, that's true.
That's true? Oh,
Yes.
all right.
Look at your face.
So we'll start this off by you telling me like what types of food would you find on a normal. It doesn't have to be necessarily local, but even if it's just your family, like what types of food do you usually have, and are there? What is the let's say what is the ratio between local foods and non-local foods? Like, does your mom ever cook something that isn't Mexican cuisine or not Italian cuisine or not Taiwanese cuisine?
Well, usually it's my dad. He's the one that usually cooks. He's a chef, so he's the one in charge. Yeah. And
He's a chef.
yeah,
That is what he does.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. So, but his major is specifically Mexican food.
Okay.
So yeah, but sometimes he likes to experiment and does some fusion. It's not always good. It's not always bad.
And would you say it's typical if you just randomly walk into a Mexican family's breakfast or lunch or dinner to see food that isn't Mexican cuisine?
No, very rare. Very, very rare. Yeah. Usually they just stick to what they know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since my mom is in love with Italy, so we also have a lot of Italian food in the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Chinese.
Chinese.
The Powell family love a good Chinese.
Really?
Wow.
Oh yes.
All right.
My dad will try and do like duck pancakes. So he'll get the duck and he will get hoisin sauce and he'll chop up the cucumber very thinly and the spring onions. Do you get crispy duck pancakes?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
do.
we don't make it, but
It's a big,
I've
like a
had it.
big Chinese dish.
Yeah.
And they'll get like the thin, like phyllo pancakes, and the hoisin sauce goes on, and there's an art to it.
That is my favorite. That's my
it's
favorite Chinese dish. My favorite is.
You get it
hoisin.
here?
Yeah, of course.
Shut.
No.
Where?
I have to
But not
remember
good.
there was there was a restaurant in the north of Tel Aviv that used to serve it. I think they closed for renovation, but they might be
Okay.
open.
I need to try.
I'll have the link in the description. Hoisin dak is like my favorite. Oh well,
Wow.
one of my favorites.
But Chinese was a big favourite in the family. It was always a treat. Like on a Saturday, we'd go and get a Chinese.
Wow.
And it was a time for me and my dad to bond as well, because I lived in a city similar to you, 30 minutes away from my parents before I moved here. And so it would be a bonding exercise for me and my dad. We'd go out to the Chinese together. We'd wait for the Chinese. We wouldn't speak. That's just, again, typical English family. We just bond through energies, I suppose. And then we'd come back and be like, good talk, Dad, good talk, yeah. And then we would have the Chinese, and it would be eat very quickly. Again, we wouldn't be together. We'd all be eating in different places, but we'd be sharing the one cuisine together. But I like the sound of this 4-hour.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, I think we would kill each other, but it sounds lovely.
Well,
But
we do it too, doesn't
It's,
it?
I mean, it's peculiar that you could get all the ingredients for Chinese cuisine
Oh, yeah.
in Liverpool.
But Liverpool has like strong Chinese community there.
Thank you.
They have a Chinatown.
Did you research on that,
So
did
that's
you?
the reason.
Wait, there's a Chinatown there, right?
Yes, there is.
Give me
High five.
Hey,
There's
hey.
a big Chinese.
No, because
community.
sound cuisine is really hard to get the ingredients everywhere else.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
like Jamaican
Mhm.
and Mexican isn't massive. Now it is, because as you go out on the streets now, because people travel, a lot more cuisine is available.
Mhm.
But back when I was a child growing up, it was Chinese. Indian was slowly emerging, but it was mainly Chinese was the big
There's a
cuisine.
Chinatown there.
Yeah.
beautiful
Do some
Chinatown.
research.
You been?
No, but I know that.
I
I
think
read. I
in every
read.
major city there's a Chinatown.
Yeah, I mean, even in Tel Aviv, there's like a
Yeah.
district where they sell.
Mm.
I remember once I was abroad and I found the hoisin sauce. And I bought a jar of hoisin sauce, thinking that one day I will head to the south of Tel Aviv and buy a duck and cook the duck. That never happened, and the sauce expired. But
Well, at least you tried.
to that extent, I did.
Well, for me, I think probably I'm the one that come from the most little town. So for me, it was really difficult to approach other cuisine because I live really close to the mountain, and so it was really difficult. And so I think the most common food that you can, dish you can find in family dinners is just pasta with condiments or meat. Yeah. I think in my town maybe you can find ingredients for Moroccan cuisine, but yeah, not other kind of yeah.
And there's no
Other
like
cultures.
Chinese takeaway down the street.
No.
Curry house.
Yeah,
I'm
but it's
surprised
pretty new,
how
so
you know
I
Chinese
don't really
food.
know. Like I think it opened when I left, so I don't know. Yeah, it's I come from a little town. It's like we are, really, and we come from the mountain. Like
You're
we
mountain people.
we like to preserve our traditions.
They like their soup.
Yes.
All right. So Lian, tell us about the seafood capital of Taiwan.
Usually my mom cook fish a lot, like fried fish or like steamed fish, and because I love spicy, so like she will put lots of spicy things there. We also eat like octopus, you know, like fresh octopus at affordable price, not like here.
Yeah.
But usually in our dinner we have lots of things: seafood, pork, chickens, vegetables, anything you can find. Usually it's a pretty traditional like Chinese or Taiwanese food. Yeah, not something like Western mix in between.
So would you say it's rare to walk into a Taiwanese family and see that they're eating pizza or?
It's very rare. Usually if they eat pizza, we will feel like the parents didn't really, take good care of their children. Why they eat,
So let's transition to the next question. If you're not eating, you're all gonna have to answer this, but this is a really good transition. If you're not eating, let's call it Western food, do you serve a fork?
Not often. Usually chopsticks are the major device we use to eat everything, even pizza. No, only for me. I was like, I'm lazy.
I think in Italy they will still give you the fork. We are terrible.
No, of course. But I mean, the transition I wanted to head towards is what specific and special, like if you were to describe the table, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything like specific? Let's say in Mexico you would always find, I think, the pot for fajitas. Or at least I found like this. There's a specific like pot where you put the fajitas with the towel and.
Okay. Yeah, the tortillera.
Tortilla.
Yeah. The special box for the tortillas.
Yes.
Yeah, with a towel. Yes, because the tortillas you have to eat them warm, and you need to put them inside the towel, inside this pot or box, and every time you grab a tortilla, you have to close it. If you don't close it, then everybody will scream at you.
Because they cool off or they get dry.
They get cold,
Cold.
and then it's not that easy to fold it and use it as a fork or whatever.
I don't think in Italy we have anything specific like that can be recognized as Italian that you use and you put on the table.
Do you eat spaghetti with a fork and a spoon?
Me, no,
Chopsticks.
but yeah, I think it's just used for the like to serve it on the plate, like to make the good preparation, like. But at the end, like you just roll the spaghetti on the fork,
On
and
the
that's
fork?
it. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
easiest.
chopsticks.
No, I think the spoon is just used to when you have the big.
Like
pot.
the bowl, the
Yeah, the
common
pot,
bowl.
and then you have to serve it on the plate. Yeah.
All right. What other specific kitchen appliances would you find only in a Taiwanese, English, Mexican cuisine?
It's a really difficult question.
Molcajete.
Molcajete.
Molcajete, it's the rock where we make the salsas.
Okay. Ah.
And you
it's,
smash it.
Yeah. mortar and
Yeah, like the mortar. Yeah.
yeah.
So you put like the chile, like the spicy peppers and salt and whatever, and you smash it. The tomato and you smash it. So the molcajete. Yeah.
Mhm.
Every Mexican
And
family.
it's like
has
a rock, you just pick it from the garden.
No, it's a special rock. It's already been cleansed and
Okay.
given a shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a bowl made of
Yeah.
rock with like a mortar that you use to
Yeah.
grind.
And pressed for the tortillas.
Of course.
Yeah, because you not always have time to do it like with your hands, so you just put the dough inside of it and just smash it in.
It's a lot of hard work, this cuisine, isn't it?
It takes time. It's funny that you say this because my girlfriend, every time I cook, my girlfriends kind of get pissed off at me because it takes me a lot of time, but I really enjoy it. It's part of the...
The part of the process.
Yeah.
I think in England you've always got a cup of tea on the table, no matter if you're eating
Yeah.
hot, cold,
Mhm.
dessert or starter. The tea is always brewed, ready to go.
Mm.
You know, it's always a thing of put the kettle on. You know, at every point in the day, put the kettle on. We have a tea time traditionally at 4:20 when the Queen would sit and have tea. And this is tradition from the 1900s. Yeah. And you would go to your grandma's at 4:20 and the teapot would come out on a little tray with a do you know what a doily is?
Yeah.
No.
So, okay, so you have the teapot. It's not a kettle electric, it's the old-fashioned teapot. And to keep the tea warm, you put like a little coat on it, and it's called a doily. And it was made of wool, like a hat, like a beanie hat,
Okay.
on the teapot. And that would keep the content hot. And then it would always be served with biscuits, cucumber sandwiches, and because of the Jewish culture, kuchen
Kuchen?
is Polish, Yiddish.
Kuchen, it just means to cook, but I don't know what it means.
Well, in Liverpool, that's also the way you say kuchen. Are you cooking?
Yeah.
To Scouse.
Ah.
Liverpool's talk. Are you cooking tonight? I'm
Ah.
cooking. You cooking? Kuchen was like a sweet bread that you would put butter and jam on, and you would eat it with
Never
tea.
heard.
All right. Okay.
No, I actually was thinking, I think the problem of Italy is that not only each region, but I think every big town or city has its own tradition. So this is why I don't know. Maybe it might be that in the south or in center of Italy they use something specific that is gonna be always used on the or be seen in the table. But yeah, specifically for my region, I think, and if I can say my town, no. So, but yeah, I think.
So let's say, for example, how common are handmade pasta makers?
Oh yeah, but this is not something that like it's before, like it's all the preparation. Like we have a machine, and then you prepare all the ingredients, and then you start to roll it,
Yeah.
and it's someone that you makes because then the pasta becomes super long, and then you
See, I
fold
would
it
think that
again.
in a non-Italian household,
You
you would
think
have
you
to
would-
be like either you have to be both very rich with a really spacious kitchen and like a
Really?
really pasta aficionado to have a pasta maker.
Oh no, I think no. So okay, I understood. So no, in that case, I think every kitchen has. Yeah,
Pasta
I have
maker.
it. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, that's cool.
And most old they are like the best, like they work the best. It's, and they need to be super heavy. Yeah. So yeah,
All
you're right.
Not for me. We don't have a specific.
Anything specific?
Not really.
Okay. You don't have like a, how do you grill the is like a specific grill for the fish?
No.
No, just
I just found like Taiwan might be boring. Like we actually no. Like my mom just like fry or steam. It's like something very simple, not very specifically just happening in Taiwan. I think yeah, it's pretty universal.
all right.
From my understanding.
So let's talk about dinner etiquette. Okay, where do you sit? Who eats first? Can you use your phone? Do you watch TV? What topics can be discussed? What topics can never be discussed?
I sit next to my father. He's always the head of the table, and I sit to his right, my mom to his left, and my three sisters. Now there's the husband and the kids, so they'll sit on our table for kids.
And is there like a specific order where people get served or people eat, or is it just
No, we just go at it. Well, my dad's always in the kitchen, so he will come and go, and he throws the tortillas for us. Like, there you go.
Like frisbee.
Yeah, but my mom really,
All
she
right.
doesn't like it, but this is how it
Phone,
does it, yeah.
phones, TV?
No phones, no TV. I'm the one in charge to take the phones of everyone.
You
Nice.
actually take everyone's phone.
Yeah, because it really bothers me that you're talking to someone and they're texting or
Yeah, it's
yeah.
terrible.
So I'm the one in charge of doing this.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're asking specifically your family, or what we think about the generical families?
I mean, you can only represent yourself,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but you can kind of distinguish between something that is because of your culture and something that comes from your specific family makeup.
yeah.
So white tablecloth comes to mind straight away. There's always a white tablecloth and napkins. And you always have to put your napkin on your lap before you start your meal.
Oh,
And the women get served first. And I would always sit opposite my mum and next to my dad, and then the two cats next to us at the table. And they would get served first, actually. in my house.
Good
The
choice.
better cuts of meat as well, that. And there'd always be sauces on the table. If there was no ketchup or brown sauce, which is called HP, we couldn't start. Like, it's just a
Nice.
prerequisite. You have to have ketchup on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be no phones at the table because my mum and dad wouldn't have anyone to message or talk to because they're adult parents. They didn't really
Makes
have
sense.
many,
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp friends. So we would just try and have a conversation, which we discussed earlier, never happened. But it was typical British, sort of etiquette, and you also weren't allowed to drink soda
Mm-hmm.
before the meal in case you got full. That was, I remember growing up, I wasn't allowed to drink
Oh,
soda or water before the meal because I would get full with the drink. That was
this
very
is
strict.
interesting.
All right.
Well, if I need to talk about my family, I think, my mother is the one that serves food. I think every meal she decides to start from a different one to don't create any kind of nepotism. But I think generically the father, or husband, is the one that is served first. And apart from that, yeah, there is no... I think the youngest is the one that is served the last. Yeah. And yeah.
Where are you there?
As I said, my mom sometimes say, let's start from the oldest. Oh, no, today you didn't act well. Let's give to the other one. No, yeah, it's really depending. But yeah, this is normally... In Italy, I think they start from the husband or father. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think in Taiwan, in my family, my mom always is the one to serve the family, and so me, my sister, my father, usually we will sit down first, and sometimes my mom will say, okay, you guys can just eat without waiting for me. But usually we like to wait for her, and then when we eat, usually, I don't like to talk about my personal stuff because usually I like to complain and I want to look for solutions from them, but they cannot because they are not very involved in my daily life. So I will just throw some very spicy topic my dating history and whatever, and they'll be like, blah 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 blah, and I will okay, you guys keep talking, I'm eating, so to make sure that the vibe is keeping alive. And usually my mom and my dad like to reserve some specific portions in every dish for me, and even my sister will do that, because I'm the youngest one, so to make sure that I'm being taken care of, and then take advantage of everything.
Okay.
Coming back to what can you talk and you cannot, my family's a very open family, so we talk about everything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was in
But in a typical Mexican family, you don't talk about religion, politics, or sports, or football. Primarily.
You don't talk about...
You don't talk about...
I think in Italy it's what we are talking the most, the religion, football, and politics. Yeah. Probably also sexual orientation.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, also my family.
Right?
Yeah.
Around the table? So you talk about it, you don't. That's what you said?
No, we do.
You do?
But
Yeah.
specifically...
But in a typical Mexican family, you don't.
You don't.
It's taboo.
Oh.
Yeah, but my family's very
Can you imagine if we
chill.
meet?
It'd be a good dinner, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And you have certain topics that you cannot talk about. Like, for example, I have one sister that she's a lawyer, and if you try to give a law advice, then my mom will tell you, "Are you the lawyer?"
Oh,
No,
right.
then shut up. That's the lawyer.
like-
She will give the answer.
So strict.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Actually, it is.
All right. So let's think about what happens to family dinners now when the kids get older and
Mhm.
they have families. Hector, you said that even though your sisters have their own families, they still come 4 days a week to eat with, let's say, the bigger family.
Yeah.
But usually, and in Israel, you know, people still go and eat with their parents, even if it's an hour's drive, like almost every week. So there's no real difference if when you're a kid and you're still staying with your parents or when you're an adult. But I want to know how it is in Italy and Taiwan and the UK. If when people grow older and they move out of their house and they move, you know, there's like, especially in Italy and the UK, you can move to another town that's 6 hours drive
yeah,
away.
exactly.
so
I
you
was
wouldn't-
thinking Israel
yeah.
is really little.
Yeah. So what really happens to the family dinners when the kids move out?
It's fragmented. Like now I live here. They tend not to do Friday night dinner anymore.
Oh.
That's how important I am. No, it's just the effort's not really put in that much. Like when I come home twice a year, then they will. And I think I miss that family Friday night dinner feeling. And here in this country, I'm part of a very big community of expats. And tonight, for example, I'm watching the clock because I'm cooking for 24 people. And I haven't cooked yet. So I'm like thinking what I'm cooking, how long it's going to take me to cook. And here it's a very different vibe. I'm sure you all feel it as well. If you don't have family here, you become each other's family.
Yeah.
And you take on a very different type of eating behaviour and custom. And tonight, for example, I'm going to have 24 people from all over the world for dinner, like from America, from England, from South America, all here without family to come together for a traditional meal.
Mm-hmm. And like generally,
So,
would you say that in Liverpool, people still eat with their parents after they've moved out, or is it just even if you still live there?
Yeah, I think if you're still living in the realms of like an hour's drive away, you will come with your family and come in and still try and keep up the maintain.
Like how often?
Oh, you would go every week.
Every week.
Yeah. Like in Liverpool, it's a very sort of tight-knit community. So you'd be expected every week. And if you weren't there every week, there'd be some... On the phone, where are you? Where are you? You're a minute late. Where are you? Where are you? You're in hospital. You're in hospital. You okay? You all right? It would be very much like, yeah, you're coming round and that's what you're doing.
All right.
Yeah, I think in Italy the same. Like we use Sunday as the day where we can all meet together.
You uphold this tradition of going in
Yeah.
Italy with your parents.
Yeah. And especially during big holidays like Easter, Christmas, or New Year Eve. Like it's really common to meet all together and eat lentils to bring money,
All right.
for example. Yeah.
I think in Taiwan, like if you move out, I mean, depending on like whether like how far your parents live to your city, but usually like in my case, because 30-minute drive, so I have no choice but to accept the fact that my parents come to my house to cook. Yeah, but usually like if it's more than 2 hours drive, then probably like once in a month, or even like they meet on some specific big holiday like Chinese New Year or like Mid-Autumn Festival, stuff like that.
Well, there's one last question that I want to ask in this regards is, what if you move out and you get married, then how do you split between going to, you know, your family and your significant other's family? How does that work?
Can I say, for
Of course.
example? Like we do lunch, the family of the father or the husband, and evening or opposite with the family of the mother or wife.
That's a nice solution.
So at the end of the day, like you're rolling home, like. But yeah, this is in Italy. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else wanna pitch in?
I think that they always spend it in my house.
All right.
Yeah.
Because of the chef.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. You're not gonna get in between your sister and her, so I gotta. All right. So before we move to our next section, I want to ask the final question: who does the dishes?
My mom.
Your mom. Who also does the cooking?
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I'm a very
Wow.
bad girl. Sorry.
The youngest.
The youngest.
Yeah.
The cats.
Leaking.
Okay, but they can only do so much.
My brother does it.
In my family, we usually at the end of the meal, everyone takes out
Yeah.
the dishes. But now, depending on if me or my brother are in a hurry, we'll start doing the dishes while people are still eating, just to save
So
time.
you
Yeah.
can
To save time.
This is a good idea.
Do you not have dishwashers? Because we have dishwashers.
But you have to pre-wash
Yeah.
the dish before you put it in
Yeah.
the washer, and even taking out the dish and putting it in the washer, it's still work.
And we only use it like in special occasions, like the whole family, like aunts and nephews and whatever.
You
And when
Open
it's
it.
not
Yeah.
being used, it's just a cupboard.
Yeah, it's just
I mean,
there.
same in our house.
It's just there.
All right, we're gonna move on to our rapid-fire questions. Let's ask. I'm gonna ask all of you the same question. We'll start with Hector. Hector, give us a book recommendation from your country.
A book recommendation from my country?
Yes.
Hardcore.
Mhm.
That's a tough question.
Who's your favorite Mexican author?
I don't have a favorite Mexican author.
Who's your second favorite?
It's been a long time since I read. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna.
Taylor Caldwell, Doctor of Bodies and Souls. I love that book. It's one of my favorites.
All right.
And Mario Puzo,
Mm.
which is like Italian American.
Uh huh.
He wrote The Godfather.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a really great book.
All right. Debs.
Oh my word! This came from
You can't
left
say
field.
J.K. Rowling.
This came from left field, didn't it? This isn't about dinners. Ooh, book. I would probably.
Okay, I'm gonna expand the question.
Oh, good.
It doesn't have to be a book author. It can be a blogger. It could be nonfiction. It could be any kind of writing.
Okay.
Audiobooks as well.
Could it be a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a comedian, or I think I'm a comedian. Some say I'm not, but I think I am. And there's a couple of comedians that have got a podcast called Joan and Juliet, I think it is, and they play to like sort of therapists, like agony aunt help type of people. But it's can I swear? It's a piss take.
All right.
And they kind of like have people call in, say, listen, I'm suffering from, I feel my husband's cheating on me, and they kind of rip this woman apart and go, I'm not surprised, look at you, you've not shaved in weeks, look at that face, you're not putting enough makeup on, no wonder he's gone off somewhere else.
What's the name of that
I
podcast?
think it's something like Joan and Julia.
All right. So
But
John
it's
and
satire,
Julia.
very good satire, British comedy.
We're gonna have all the links in the description. Yeah. And if you like John and Julia, and why not give it whatever? What, if you like the name of the podcast that's gonna be in the description, give it a thumbs up and a nice review, and maybe give one to us too.
I would say all the books of Roberto Saviano.
Mhm.
Is a really great writer, and is writing about really big issues in Italy. Like one of them is La Gomorra,
Mhm.
and it's really good because he's showing you like
I read that book.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. They also made a TV
movie.
series, or the
Yeah.
movie. I didn't watch it, but I think he's really good because he's showing you in a really, unfortunately, I would say crude way, but he opened your mind because, let's be honest, Italian people are a little bit naive. So it's really great.
Uh-huh.
But it's really good.
Yeah. Favorite Taiwanese writer.
Very tough because I think when I was young, I read like all the books from like 19th century, 18th century, like in like old dynasty from China, whatever. And then when I was growing up, I like to read tour books, like how to make your own business, how to be an entrepreneur, stuff like that. And usually it came from like Western world. So
Okay.
for me, like it's very hard.
But is there like a Taiwanese blogger or podcast that you regularly tune into?
I've been like reading blogs coming from a musician and who pivot himself to be like love expert, and what he like the way of his thinking is very unique. Like he usually like to be very sarcastic and then like try to say something that will totally turn like change your mind, give you a different way of thinking about your relationship and your love, and it makes you feel much more open-minded towards
And is that
everything.
in Chinese?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get the link in the description. One more question. I want you to think of a small little crime that is illegal in your country, but nonetheless, everybody does it.
Oh,
Jaywalk.
What's that?
All right. Jaywalk is to cross the street with when there's the sign is supposed to
yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
They can see the cop there, like the police officer there, and they'll still do it.
All right,
They don't care. They just do it.
just go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Debs?
Stealing things from other people's dumpsters.
Really?
Like, you know, you have a skip, we call it a skip, on your outside your house when you throw stuff in.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's illegal to take something out of someone else's skip, but people do it.
Is it, but why is it illegal if somebody throws it away?
I don't know. There's something around. I don't know. It's like people
Alright.
go and go into each
Like in
other.
Tel Aviv, when people move out of their apartment,
They just throw it on the
they
street.
put everything on the
so
street.
people hope.
Yeah, and then it's a nice I don't know, there's a nice pot or here's a nice
That's a nice
linen.
spot.
I'll take it.
Exactly.
And people just I mean, it's illegal to put it in the street,
But not
but to take it is actually helping the law because it's not going to be on the street anymore. But yeah, if I were to say people put their belongings on the street every time they move.
I think leaving the garbage on the street, I think it's illegal because now we have a rule for recycling. Every family has his own basket, and plastic and everything, but people still leave it everywhere in the street.
Alright.
Yeah, it's a mess.
And
I think drunk driving.
Everyone
drunk
does
driving. All right, that is.
Yeah,
You take the cake.
every
Yeah.
day.
Really?
Yeah, it's literally like every day I can watch the news and then see like some kids are like dead because of someone drunk driving, and that's why I don't want to learn how to drive a car
All right.
or even ride a bicycle because of that.
All right. Well, with that, we'll sign off. I want to say to everyone, drive safe. If you're listening to this podcast while driving, I hope that you're sober enough and drive safe. I want also to thank my amazing guests. I'm going to eat now because this was a very appetizing episode.
Same here.
And I want to ask you guys listening to help us beat the YouTube algorithm by giving us a thumbs up, liking this video, and subscribing to our channel, sharing it with your friends, and put a little comment. Tell us what you think. Tell us what kind of topics you want us to discuss, how things are where you come from. And if you want to be a guest, also just send us a message, send us an email. We're going to have the email written down. It's crossingculturespodcast@gmail.com. And I hope to see you on the next episode.